for something nearly 4 decades now, an army of Doctor Who fans from all over the world have descended on one location for the biggest Doctor Who convention in the world, Gallifrey One. So yeah, they go there by their thousands, Gary, as we found out. I mean, 3,000. It's a good number. It's a good number. Pile into the Marriott Airport Hotel there. It does look quite luxurious, I have to say.
Yes. So this is just really quick, probably more information than anybody really wants. This shot's basically taken from the street, so you're looking in, and that drive is the kind of like the car where you can kind of drive up and you can see a little car there, and you can leave that with the whoever, and then you just kind of like walk in, and the area below that, the little kind of darkened area, where the trees are.
Yeah, it looks like where Jack Ruby was shot.
That is that is the area where, that's the floor there at the bottom, where the whole floor is the convention. So where people are getting out of their cars and walking into the main area on the top is one floor, and then the bottom part there is and that's where they bring in quite nice food trucks and stuff throughout the weekend, so you can pretty much stay in that area the whole weekend. But you're all on that one floor. You can basically live in that one floor for all 3 days.
Bunker down. Yeah, so ever since 1990, they've been holding Gallifrey One conventions. I think mostly here. They skipped 1 year, maybe 2 years for the pandemic, but I think they're catching up really. Gallifrey 136 was held this weekend, just gone. Nice assortment of faces from all eras of Doctor Who were there this time, classic and new. The audio fans, there was lots of people there who were into the audio dramas. And once again, here at Type 40 Live, we're going to gather and compare our levels of sort of jealousy, really, but pick over what was said, who was there, and what went down. What did we miss? That's the general gist of it. And the announcements came pretty quickly. One of the big guests there, I think he's there every year, is Jason Hay-Gallery from Big Finish. And he always sort of wrangles 3 or 4 or more Big Finish people to delight the crowds with. But they chose this particular event to announce big news there for Big Finish. So, Jason confirmed that Big Finish has had their deal renewed, their license renewed, to continue making audio dramas, like full cast audio dramas and audio books connected to the Doctor Who brand. It's one of a number of IPs that they currently have. They've just landed a big deal with Ian Fleming to do the Young Bond series of novels as audio dramas. That's a big deal for them. But they've got lots of other deals with other people as well. But it's all built on the foundations of what they established, what they've achieved over the last 2.5 decades with Doctor Who. So the statement said that Big Finish Productions is delighted to confirm that its license to produce Doctor Who audio dramas has been renewed, securing brand new audio adventures for listeners until the end of 2035. So that's the best part of another decade. Now, I was hoping it would get renewed for them because they do put a lot into it, but I didn't think it would get renewed that far into the future, Luke. That did surprise me.
I muted myself again, didn't I? Rookie mistake. I used the idea up until 2030, and that's still a long way away. But 2035 is kind of a bit mad. And when you put into perspective, how many? It sounds very morbid, but how many of those doctors are still going to be alive? 2030, 2035. I know they've got years. They've got them backed up for like 10 years each, I think.
No, but Tom and Sylvester have both recorded a lot of stuff in advance.
I think they've got like 10, from what I've heard, they've got about 10 years backed up. But Joe Martin and John Carley and Miles Taylor, just they're in a job for a long, long time.
Here's Miranda Raisin, there, Lisa Greenwood, and Conrad Westmus, who all play companions to various doctors, sometimes together, sometimes apart, signing various bits and pieces of fan art, Sharpies in hand, lots of smiles. I do love seeing stuff like this. I'm nowhere near the Big Finish completist, Gary, that I used to be. And I don't think I ever will be again. I'm going to have to live with the fact that there are dozens. There'll probably end up being thousands of these things that I've never heard.
Yeah.
But to be honest, the continued existence of Big Finish, if they are able to keep the lights on and to maintain and ideally grow their audience, I'd never begrudge them that. So I am happy for everybody connected with Big Finish in regards to this.
And this is exactly like, standing as close as the photographer took here. This is the one great thing about Gallifrey, because, you don't have to, you can just come right up there. And if nobody's like in line behind you, you can stand there and just talk to your, heart's content. Everybody's, really friendly. And I'm sure that the people at Big Finish love it because, this is, probably one of their few chances to really connect with a large number of fans at one time.
Well, there'll be people there who have been curious, and there'll probably still be people, Doctor Who fans, who've never even heard of them. I do, when you read or hear interviews with people, like Nick Briggs, Jason Hay-Gallery, or John Ainsworth, they do still talk to people who have no idea that this stuff exists. So that they've got to be seen to be flogging it at any opportunity. And why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it here? They've done a lot to advance the download delivery method in recent years, but Doctor Who fans tend to prefer the physical media, I think, for the most part. But I would imagine that will lessen even more as time goes on. Times do change. But yeah, a lot of the people connected with it do have sort of jobs or roles for life. David, do you know what I mean? It's nice that these things continue, and they talk about how they intend to creatively expand as well, which is that's the ideal scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's people of whom may have fallen out of love with the previous two iterations of the show can still find solace in hearing good quality productions. I know it's not visually, but at least in auditory, in an auditory way, with their favourite Doctors. And yeah, there's look. You get some really good ones, and you get some not so good ones, but you get that in any sort of season of Doctor Who with your favourite Doctors. You get some right clunkers, and you get some very good ones. So you don't have to buy them all to or be a completist, as a number of us once were. And for me, the one constant over the last 27 years now that Big Finish have been putting out stuff has been them. So if you get a little bit fed up with what's being shown on TV, you can reach for a Paul McGann or a Sylvester or a Peter Davison. Peter Davison's work on Big Finish is he's quite he's somewhat darker than his TV stuff. And it without Big Finish, we would never have got the really sort of the redemption of Colin Baker's Doctor, the continuation and really good work that happened with Sylvester's Doctor. We wouldn't have had Paul McGann as well, with all the excellent adventures he's had, and we've had Tom as well, which has been amazing, and having a really good rediscovery with Louise Jameson, and sadly for the one season, with Mary Tam before she sadly died, and some of his other companions as well, with Romana too. And I really am pleased that they've had the contract extension, and because it's such a long contract extension, one wonders, going back to what we were talking about before the break, one wonders if the reason for the long extension is that there might be a little bit more time before we get another series on TV, perhaps.
It's hard to speculate about that, isn't it? About how the two sides to Doctor Who, the two long-standing sides to it now, how they may interact, and how interests may
so
collide.
they may be filling a bigger gap than perhaps any of us anticipated, or perhaps they anticipated, but at least it gives them security for the next 9 years. And as Luke says, if they've got 10 years worth of stuff backed up from each of the surviving doctors, it means they can just sort of, well, it's put it out like a sausage factory, really. It's so
And
at least we know
room for people to grow as well who are more recent appointments. People like Michael Troughton, who's been playing the second Doctor now for a couple of years, and obviously a friend of the show, Stephen Noonan, and other friend of the show, Tim Treloar. They can continue to develop their lines, as well as Jonathan Carley, that unique time in the series mythology where he's playing the War Doctor. They can expand that as well. So much room to play with, and what they're trying to establish with Joe Martin as well. Jason Hay Gallery said being licensed until the end of 2035 lets us plan further ahead than ever. That means bigger stories, more ambitious series, and plenty of surprises. We can't wait to share what's coming. So there could have been some sort of pitch involved. But yeah, there's a lot of people there. Obviously, Fraser Hines connected with Doctor Who now for, 6 decades. And there he still is, still representing and still playing the part too, and a presence. He was also a guest there at Gallifrey One. So I just love seeing the pictures, Charlotte, as much as if I'd have been there myself. It's nice.
Yeah, especially when it's some of these actors like a Fraser who doesn't turn up at all of the events nowadays, and he has every right not to. Like, he's done his, like you've said, how many years has he dedicated to this brand at this point? But he still loves to come when he can to these conventions. And that is the unique thing about Gallifrey One, because it's such a big event, and because it's sort of seen as the main convention now for Doctor Who, you tend to get more of these actors, which are a bit more of a rarer appearance, actually come and talk, which is, like you said, it's nice to see certain faces. Whereas we always tend to see like a Colin Baker or a Sylvester now at these sort of things. So yeah, and the thing is with Big Finish, I'll just add, you've also got you can tell at the moment they're sort of, it's almost like they're thinking of their next wave of stuff they're gonna do. Like you said, with the Miles announcement, with the Peter Capaldi audios, obviously it's
I've
got
forgotten
Peter
about
doing
that.
them, but it's Coleshaw, and we know he can do that sort of work very well. He's been doing the Brig very well, and he's sort of really been flourishing in that role. So I'm very intrigued what he'll do as the 12th Doctor, to see him.
Chris and Billy.
Yeah, and that was the other thing I was about to say. With Chris,
Sorry.
It's given Chris a go at the Doctor again, which we never thought we were going to get, because of his relationship with the show and how he sort of had so many demons and issues with Russell and his team.
And they got the Ronnie back.
Yes.
Oh, I saw Siobhan Redmond.
It feels like Big Finish is sort of prepping themselves for this next wave with new talent. Because like you said, it's a bit of a macabre thought, but certain actors are probably not going to be here in 10 years' time, so they need to do that.
There was a classic series panel or two there at Gallifrey One, Charlotte. So here's Peter Davison with Fraser Hines and Matthew Waterhouse, Mark Strickson, and Sarah Sutton. So 3 of the companions from his era, and they're all just sort of hanging out. Oh, like Fraser's back with the TARDIS on.
Yeah, cool.
He's got a TARDIS on his t-shirt as well, David. But so there was a cluster of classic series actors there who I would imagine know one another and one another's stories very, very well by now.
Yeah, it's great when they can coordinate the guests to have these little kind of like mini era reunions. Like, I know that they were trying to do that until Paul McGann had to sadly kind of decline because of work commitments. They pretty much had everybody connected with the TV movie there this year. I just, you wonder whether, like back in 1981, 82, like when Mark Strickson like took on the role of Turlough, probably for what he thought was a limited time, or Sarah Sutton, that they would have thought that for almost 50 years later they would still be doing this.
They couldn't possibly have comprehended. I mean, I think Sarah Sutton was about 19 years old, wasn't she? Matthew Waterhouse, I think he was even younger. But and here they all are, 45 years later. There's Peter Davison. He arrives sort of in costume for his own one man.
It's his five-ish doctor's outfit.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, I do like how Peter Davison, I think he puts on some of this sort of world weariness. I think he's loving it. I think he loves every minute of this now.
He's a very witty bloke, Peter. That's what I love about panels whenever I watch him. He's so dry. Like you said, he's sort of got that I'm British, I'm long-suffering sort of expression down to a T.
Those chairs don't look very comfortable, do they? It's as if he could disappear down the cracks.
And the interesting thing about Davison, who I love pretty much in anything he does, is that he even said, what point did he say that, even at the time he thought he was kind of too young to kind of take on the role back in 19, but now through Big Finish, he's kind of grown into being the age he probably would have preferred to be when he took on the role, but now we get to see that Doctor too. So it's great.
Yeah. Get the best of both worlds, don't we? We got him running around breathlessly in his late 20s, and we get this sort of scratchy voiced version of the same character now.
Yeah.
And somehow it's okay that it all exists. I think it's because we like him, like the character, grew up with them. It's the same with all of these actors. We can close our eyes and even if we're more sort of pragmatic and we struggle with the lore of these things, it is a fantasy at the end of the day. And I think part of the joy is just sort of going with it. I mean, speaking about going with it, as somebody who definitely went with it earlier, late last year was this guy. Yes, he's okay, David. He's pleased to learn that Colonel Sexy Pants, it turns out he's alive and well. He was wearing dark glasses, so he could still be in a state of recovery from when he was dispatched, wasn't he, in the war between the land and the sea, a little over 2 months ago.
He's wearing those sort of glasses you get for $2.99 from a petrol station that tells you you can see in fog, which is always nice to say. The ones I mean.
Or one of Gary's miraculous pharmacies that you can get everything in.
Well, we even have gas stations too, Luke, where you can actually buy glasses like that.
Yeah, he's right. It's an interesting outfit.
I don't know about his ascot though.
What? I was about to say.
Thank God you said ascot.
It's giving me Fred from Scooby-Doo vibes. That.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
Okay, this is Alexander Devrant or Devrent. I don't know how you pronounce this, Alexander. I'm just going to call him Alexander or Alex. Is also his first North American convention appearance at Gallifrey One this year. And although we have ripped the piss out of this guy and the character in particular mercilessly over the last 18 months, Charlotte, it is nice to see people getting involved with the conventions pretty quickly to capitalize on the affection that will be out there for them. I think it's nice that they're there.
Oh yeah, it's nice that they appear and that some, like, for the fans who might not have so much of a classic background, who are more modern, like, even if you've just been in a couple of episodes, they're just as important to those fans as anybody who's been in a couple of episodes of a Troughton. Like, I think that's what sometimes people can lose sight of a little bit, because you've got so many generations now of people watching this show. Every actor is important, even if, like you said, we all took the mick out of that character, and I still think the character was utterly ridiculous. But good for him, because there are people who did like his character, probably. So it's good.
Did he have any character?
He was the boy toy.
Yeah.
Colonel Sexy Pants is his character, okay?
That's right.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay.
Officially.
Sorry.
In fact, seeing as anybody can edit Wikipedia, can't they? I dare you to go in and to change the character's name to Colonel Sexy Pants. Let's see how that goes down. Is that one of the Village People? Asks Matthew Pounder. Well, not yet. I mean, if they did the biopic of the Village People, the VPs, maybe he could be up for that. Which one would he be? Would he be the fireman? He could be. Yeah, you have to ask him if he's down for that. He's very wiry, isn't he, this guy? So maybe. Who knows? Amazing they're still covering the spin-off at Gallifrey One, says Woodhouse122, watching on YouTube, when Disney still haven't scheduled the show. Yes, yeah. It must be rather strange. But of course, he was in the last couple of seasons of Doctor Who here and there, sort of cluttering up the set now and again. So people will have seen him, even if they haven't seen him in The Thing or seen him by the farm, I suppose. They would still know his face, even if they're not sure what his name is or who the character is. They can get acquainted with him. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
I was just wondering, they always have a video room going where, it's like basically like a room where if you don't want to be out among the crowd, you can go in there and just plant yourself and just watch stuff. And it's scheduled pretty much 24/7. I wonder if they were legally allowed, if they could have shown the spinoff in the video room, even though it hasn't been shown here officially yet.
They need a special license to play it publicly, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So the odds are against that. But hey, you never know. I mean, they do have screenings and things there, but they tend to be sort of independent things, don't they? Like Keith takes premieres, various documentaries there, that kind of thing. So I think it's possible, but not. It wouldn't be with something of that kind of level. Yeah.
Colonel Sexy Pants' greatest moments.
A eunuch was a disgrace, says Richard Brooks 539. Unit was a great creation, and they ruined it. So it is late review there. Break it to him gently. People do like him, and people did like it. So it's okay. It is what it is, as the saying goes. At least Mr. Underpants Man will not be in this year's Christmas special. Well, it could be. They may include him in a flashback. It depends.
Oh God!
Maybe if Kate Stewart's in it, and she may see him as a ghost.
I was about to say,
that tends to happen.
That's right.
I would not put it past this production team to have him be a ghost. I really wouldn't.
But Jacob Marley.
Yes.
Kate will be about to shoot another litterer on the beach, and he'll appear, telling her not to do it.
There you go. Don't do it, Kate. In whatever accent it was that he got. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll find out in due course. I dare say, won't we? Also present was Jo Martin. Believe it or not. Here she is. Here's Jo. The fugitive doctor returns to Los Angeles. It says here. She was in attendance yet again. Lots of pictures of Jo. I think she was there for quite a time doing bits of pictures. I'm not sure what she's wearing. Looks like the wrapper you get on a Terry's chocolate orange. The foil that you get in those. So I'm all for upcycling though, Jo. So you did capital work.
Wow.
She threw herself into this by the looks of things. I mean, you spent a bit of time with her at Hooverville last year, didn't you, Luke? And you said that she was very much down for it there, like a lot of time for fans. And I think a lot of people have different feelings about her place in the show itself. But she does seem to throw herself into it when it comes to these conventions, doesn't she?
Yeah, she was grand. She was a good laugh. She was a good crack. Like so, I think she almost came out with me in the hooligans lot for a couple of pints in the end. At one point, she was great. She was good crack, and she seemed very enamored by fandom and very much a part of it, and just happy to be involved. Really nice woman, really down to earth.
Bet she likes some chicken wings for 25.
Oh my God!
Hey, well. You never know. I'm not sure who that is that's interviewing her. She obviously likes to say orange.
Almost looks like Mark Hamill who's interviewing her.
It does. Yeah, it does. Good save, Gary. It does. Yeah.
You never know. Know. Yeah. So here she is, giving it some playing to the camera. There, Charlotte. Do you miss Jo Martin at all? Apparently, she's about to front a new multimedia event later this year, isn't she? So across audio and comics and online games and short stories and things like that. And she did say that as part of her doing that, they're giving the Fugitive Doctor a brand new costume, and she's going to be doing a photo shoot in it, which will include a hat, she told attendees there at Gallifrey One.
Ooh.
So I bet you can't wait to find out what that's going to look like, can you?
Here's the thing. I do not miss the character, because she was literally there to stand and be mysterious and make no sense. Like, that was her role. But Jo as a person, I agree with what Luke was saying, just off what I've seen her at events and conventions. She seems really lovely and really up for talking and being, like, apart with fans. The thing that, though, look at that picture on the left, and then look at clearly the looks she's, like, being her doctor on the right. It's such a shame that they didn't let her be a little bit more, like whenever she was on screen, she was either scowling or trying to look mysterious.
Well, it didn't help that they got her bolted into that ridiculous costume. So it was impossible for her to be natural. They gave the poor woman no character to play, just a load of cliches.
That's my point. Like, on the left, that's a lovely natural smile, and that's you can see she could do that. So it's a shame she couldn't do that when she was on screen, because I really don't think she's going to do a 10 ton of screen stuff going forward, because she's too much of a dead end creatively to do.
Yes, she was holding court there at Gallifrey One, and I don't think she can say much about the multimedia event that's coming up later in the year, but obviously we'll have our eyes peeled for all of that. I think the big sort of ticket, the main draw for this event, that was Millie Gibson. This was her first US convention appearance as well. Always makes a great impression. Stunningly attractive young woman, of course. Had a bit of a rough ride in the mainstream press and in the fandom as well. But it's been some time since she filmed her last material for Doctor Who, and she's got a couple of other big roles under her belt since. And we looked at a video that she put out on social media last week, didn't we, where she seemed glowing at the prospect of going there. I don't know if it was to go to Gallifrey One itself or to just go to LA. I don't know where she was going on to afterwards. But it seemed very sincere, and she just seemed like a really lovely young woman, and obviously still very, very young. And people live and they learn, and I'm sure we'll see her in many great roles in the future. But yeah, it's nice. Again, it's the same with Colonel Sexy Pants. It's nice that there are people who've been involved fresh to the series itself in the last 2 or 3 years that are going to go to these big events and go and meet the fans. This is the way it should be. I mean, it's quite an outfit here that Millie was wearing for her panel there. I think that would have gone down quite well with a lot of the guys in the audience. And obviously I don't know I haven't heard much of anything that she said, but from what I've seen, there's various videos of her sort of signing props in the dealer's room, doing the full experience, Gary, which, you can't knock her for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, when the big A-listers come, I mean, they set out a whole thing where they're, hello, where they...
The flyers have it.
I forgot what I was going to say. Where they, they have a certain roster that she's on the dealer's room signing, and then appearance at the, receptions. Although I think she had to leave early or whatever. She wasn't able to come to like the Saturday night reception. They had to have Davison and crew come and fill in. You need to put a different picture up because I can't really concentrate. There you go. That's fine. That's fine. No, and I'm sure that the crowd was rapturously, receptive for her, and hopefully she had a good time around LA.
The only thing that I've heard, the only sort of anecdote that I've seen, story recounted, is that somebody asked her to do her how she sort of psyched herself up to play the middle-aged version of Ruby Sunday. And she said that one of her friends was trying to teach her to walk like a woman in her mid-40s. I thought, and here she is, walking like fucking Yoda here in the Empire Strikes Back. I'm well past 40. I don't walk like that. I don't know any women who walk like this. What's going? So what she's playing at? Looks like she's taking a chimpanzee for a walk. Whoever coached her,
she could be playing to the crowd. You know,
you could be right.
I mean, because they get up there, they're not just there to answer questions. All the guests come in and they're kind of like entertainers up there on stage, as well as just answering the questions. So, yeah.
And we've got people in the live chat commenting on this. Just lots of lols and things like that. David Mullen asks, is she auditioning for Centrinians? Do they still make those movies?
I don't think they do.
No.
Yeah, maybe they should. Maybe they should. Very Centrinians again from Stephen Braddock. Delightful, says Richard Brooks. Yeah, I just think it's nice to see her there. Yeah, very nice. Oh damn, says the Zero Room. Yeah, I think that picture has had a similar effect on some of the people in the live chat as it has.
Calm down, Gary.
There, Gary. Stephen O'Neill, big vote of confidence here. Millie Gibson should have been the Doctor instead of Ncuti Gatwa. But unfortunately, the script would probably have still let her down. There you go.
Well, I think this, I don't want this to be blasphemy, but I think that she probably is so capable of an actress that if the scripts and a different Doctor had been on the level of, say, in the 70s, I think she could have been kind of, Sarah Jane popular if she would have had the scripts and a good Doctor to play off of.
Seconded.
I think it's just hard with 8 episodes, isn't it, to connect, and obviously then it's so hard to with the Doctor and a companion especially, and when you care about them leaving right at the end, it's like I barely know you. It's like it's just not there.
She was the one positive for me from his first season.
Yeah, she was really
she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
in many respects, she saved. Well, I say saved. She redeemed some portions of the second season. You know how much I love Verida, but Millie Gibson really was excellent in her role.
I was going to say that scene there's not many good scenes in the reality war, but the one that I thought was good was when she was seeing them pass the baby jacket. Like, that was all her acting. There was no verbal to give clues, and you could see how devastated she acted that she was seeing in real time them forget. So when she could pop up, she was absolutely a bright spark.
A glasses wearer in real life as well, not just when she's pretending to be 45. Yeah, few people have a degree of fondness, I think, for Millie Gibson or Ruby Sunday here in the live chat. Millie was the one good thing to come out of season 1, says Stephen Braddock watching on YouTube, and rescued some of season 2. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Fly Highland said, "Oh, is that Millie Gibson? She looks so different with glasses." Yeah, she does. She didn't look happy to be there, says the Zero Room. I think
she's probably talking about the show, not the convention. I'm guessing.
Who's that? Says Fly Highland. So people didn't really recognise her. And the Zero Room says, I got to get that outfit for my wife. So it's quite an impression on our mate there. So that's good. That's rare.
Have any of you watched that new? What is it that she's in, the Forsyth Saga? Is that it? Have any of you watched?
To be honest, mate, I don't, because I haven't got a TV. Well, I have got a TV, but I haven't got a TV.
Just curious.
So I don't know if it's even been on yet. I think it was due to be on Channel 5, but I've kind of lost track.
Yeah, it's on Demand 5. Yeah, it is. So you can stream it.
I might have to give it a
on
look.
Channel 5. Yeah.
Might have to give it a look. Millie Gibson was let down by the producers, says Stephen O'Neill. And Matthew Pounder says she's lost that Karen haircut. Russell insisted that she gets.
She's got the most beautiful hair, and they gave her that appalling. Was it a wig, Luke?
And they made her have it cut, I think.
Yeah, they bobbed her.
Oh,
they gave her the Adric cut. Yes, just growing back. Here she is. Here she is with Freema Agyeman, and this is on Freema's own socials. # Millie Gibbo. Freema looking beautiful as well. Nice to see these two together. I've never met Freema, but she also seems really lovely. Hasn't been to Gallifrey in well over a decade. Been too busy starring in New Amsterdam and various stints on the stage. So yeah, it's nice to see her reconnect back with Martha Jones, back with Doctor Who, and clinging on there to one of the more recent companions. This was nice to see. We've got some more pictures here of Freema going out on stage. Seems to be having the time of her life as well. You can practically hear that picture, can't you? It's people with their phones. God, it's only when you see pictures from this angle, Gary, that you realise how phones have impacted concerts, conventions, anywhere that people gather. A few people recording it, and she's doing it as well. So she can't complain when she's doing it as well.
I'll tell you. You can't tell from this picture, but this is in Hall A. This is the main room where all the A-listers and the big kind of video presentations are. And when that room is packed, and people are like, roaring like with applause and stuff. I don't know what it sounds like on stage, but it's pretty loud.
It goes up. It gets lit. Do people still say lit? Luke,
I can't believe you just said that, Dan.
Yeah. We've had Lux Max in, now we've got lit. Somebody stop me.
Type 40 has changed since I first started. Jesus. It's gone so far left. Jeez.
Dear me. Yeah, so here she is. Here's Freema. Nice to have her back in the fold for a little while. It'd be good if she did some more UK events, but again, very busy, in demand, working actress. I think for a time she wanted to put some distance between her and Doctor Who for career purposes, and I wouldn't begrudge anybody that. They're locked in these roles for a lifetime, aren't they? Just ask Wendy Padbury about that. So yeah, I suspect that we'll see more of Freema here and there. I don't doubt. No, just nice to see these pictures for the from the convention and signing and things like that. And Freema does also seem to have a very good sense of humour, so she'll often be seen pulling faces like this one. I'm not sure what that is, but I think that Tom from T-Dwarf could probably make a model of it at a plasticine, whatever it is that she's trying to do there. Grandpa Dan says, "Funky in the live chat, you saucy bastard." Come on, everybody was saying lit about 5 years ago, weren't they? Or was it 10? I don't know. Maybe they were. It could have been longer.
Now, they don't have these. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they have these dedicated big Doctor Who conventions in the UK, right? Whenever they appear, it's more like in the comic, like a big kind of like all genre kind of like comics convention, right?
They do, but not on the same sort of scale as this. I mean, the Capital, the big Dwas one, that's like this. So is Hooverville, to be honest, but they don't get anywhere near the attendees, like into the thousands like that. So it's but the ethos seems similar, shall we say? I'd say the ethos is along similar lines. And yeah, people telling me the Forsyth Saga was on Channel 5 in October, November last year. See, when you don't watch TV, then this stuff sort of just floats out of your vision. But I hope it did well. I might pick it up on physical media because it does look like the kind of thing that I'd enjoy. Stephen is also a fan of Martha's character more than Rose. Yeah, I liked her more than Rose. Yeah, it's always hard to pick between the two because Rose was really iconic, and I thought Martha was a great character, but they can't all be iconic. Yeah. That's the difference, isn't it? That's the difference. Speaking of icons, here he is again, Colonel Sexy Pants back.
Oh God!
There he is, wearing the. What did you say that is around his neck, David? What did you?
I said it was
called
an ascot.
An ascot.
With his £3 petrol station glasses,
or pharmacy glasses.
So what's that, Charlotte?
I said there'll be like some designer, stupidly expensive glasses that we've all said look terrible.
Well, I want to know who saw him coming. That's what I want to do, and shake
Stuart by the looks of things.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So So there's Alexander again, sat next to Pete McTighe. He was the one. he was the one where people were hanging on his every word, because obviously he's been very involved in Doctor Who and the war between the land and the sea in the most recent past. Writer and executive producer of that 5-part event series spin-off. I mean, I suppose, now we've seen it, do we get to decide whether it was an event or not? I think the jury could be out on that. But the intention was that it be a big event. And there he was, talking about that and about Doctor Who, classic and new Doctor Who. And the impression I get, is that people were hanging on his every word. So he was there to showcase a sneak peek at the new special edition of Warriors of the Deep, because the season 21 box set, that's out next month. And he's been working on that. And he was talking about how good the Merca looks. And I think he previewed some actual footage and talked extensively about that and his work on the Doctor Who collection on Blu-ray. He also said that there'd been a decision made, although he specified this wasn't his decision, but he said the decision had been made by the collection range not to animate the 2 remaining missing episodes of The Crusade, the William Hartnell story there from season 2, isn't it? Because that's something that has stuck in people's craws a little over the last few years. People are wondering why. So again, I've no doubt that stuff will get released at some point in some form, and with more speculation about missing episodes that may be returned in the air. You can read all sorts of things into a statement like that. But at least Pete in this area could give straight answers to straight questions. And it's good that there was somebody there to talk about the Blu-rays, Gary.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd read that apparently for the Merca in the new scenes of Warriors, they haven't done like the full like 4K like high gloss and stuff. They've made the new footage look like it was filmed like in 84, whatever. So it like tracks with the rest of it, which I think is pretty cool. One really interesting thing that I'd heard that he said, and again, you can't, you just kind of have to take it that they are things they can say and things they can't say. Apparently somebody asked him about if they would be doing a collection set for the wilderness years. And he said something to the extent that like, well, there's the VAM, which is value added material, which is like basically the extras that was on the DVDs. They said certain of that haven't been included in the set so far for a reason. And then he said, you can draw your own conclusions on that. So, which means that everybody's taking that to mean, okay, it's under discussion, obviously, at least to have a wilderness years set at some point, because that's really the only thing you can kind of make from that comment.
Yeah, I know that'll make a lot of people happy. We get asked about that quite a lot. Got mixed feelings about it myself, but if it make a lot of people happy, then obviously I'll get behind it, whatever it is that they choose to do. A lot of talk around Pete McTighe at the moment and the long-term future of Doctor Who. We've talked about it extensively on this show. I won't go over old ground, but he did speak about his credentials up to this point working on the show, and gave us a bit of a breakdown here, Charlotte, which I was a bit surprised by some of the stuff that he said. So the 2 episodes that he wrote for Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, if you remember. So there was Kablam from series 11, and then Praxius for series 12, wasn't there? So there was those 2 stories. And he said that, firstly, Kablam, that the last third of that, Chris Chibnall wrote it all. He didn't write any of that, the last third. And that when it came to Praxius, he wrote about half of it, and Chris Chibnall wrote the other half. And so he feels like they weren't actually his stories. You say that makes sense,
especially with Kablam, because you had like this whole narrative for a good chunk of the episode of basically company bad. It's the individuals that are being punished. Like, it's the workers which have the raw end of the deal. And then in the last 10 minutes of the episode, Jodie literally turns around and blames the workers and is very pro-company. And it was like such a whiplash. So it almost felt at the time like something had happened with that last third of the episode. Because... And it made... Why would the Doctor, of all the characters, to suddenly be... Yes, company that lets workers... work horrible hours with hardly any pay. Literally, I think there was like other stuff that they were doing in that episode to the workers, which is terrible. And suddenly she's having a go at the bloke who's trying to fight the system a little bit. And it was odd.
Yeah,
do you remember,
be a bit
David?
like, yeah, it was. It'd be a bit like if suddenly the Doctor in the Sunmakers suddenly starts sticking up for the company as well, near the end, rather than seeing the revolution through. And it just didn't. It was, Charlotte, a real whiplash moment that really sort of took me out of the story. And what I thought, right? So for 2/3 of the episode, you're saying company bad, workers good, and now suddenly you're saying company good, workers bad. What and what?
Well, in the
is
context
going
of
on?
in the context of his convention panel, how he wasn't trying to shift any blame for the stuff that people didn't like onto somebody else. I haven't heard any mention of him attaching any value to that or feeling aggrieved by it necessarily. But he did say consequentially that because of him writing Praxius with 50-50 with Chris Chibnall and the situation with Kablam, that for him, it's Lucky Day feels like the only episode of the three that is fully his. So he takes full blame for everything that was on screen during Lucky Day.
Yeah. Here's the thing, I don't think he was. I don't see him as the type to shift blame. I'm just saying it puts a lot of sense and context to those episodes now, him saying that.
A lot of people found it jarring, Kablam, Charlotte, in the exact way that you've just described.
Yeah, and then Praxius didn't have so much the whiplash. It was just boring. It was just... I just remember watching it just going like...
Yeah, I fell asleep during that one.
How have you made plastic attacking people this, like, tiring and that I don't care? Like, you could have done a body horror thing. You could have done so many different things with that idea. You could have had a creature to go with it, but no, it was just plastic bags. And it was, yeah. So, but I agree with what you said about Lucky Day. All of the writing sins are fully at his door for that.
He mentioned the war between the land and the sea a little, because obviously being in an American convention, people were asking him, when are they going to get to see it? Not an unreasonable question, considering that it's been a couple of months. And he said that soon. Basically, he said soon, so it could be as soon as next month. But interestingly though, he believes that Disney Plus will likely drop all 5 episodes at once, but that he made it clear that he doesn't know that for certain. He was explicit on that. He also said that the Unit Tower set, which was still up when they made the War Between the Land and the Sea, but they used a different setup, has now been taken down and it's in storage at Bad Wolf. So that's gone. That is no more, but it can be reinstalled, I suppose, at any given time. So it still exists, but it's not erect. That was as disclosed by Pete McTighe. But obviously, people were eager to know of his intentions when it comes to the actual show. When Doctor Who wakes up, there are certain very obvious questions, certain patterns to the way in which he has emerged, how present he's been as a guest on that terrible Whoniverse show thing that they do for a start, and being at conventions, being very front-facing in the way that a showrunner or an elect showrunner maybe would and should. So they asked him, are you the next Doctor Who showrunner? would you accept that role? And he said, it's not my decision. I will give you my party line, which is that the position is not vacant. So again, it's not my decision. I will give you my party line, which is that position is not vacant.
Could that mean that there hasn't been an official announcement yet that Russell is gone? So technically that's true.
Could be.
Yeah, he's right, technically.
Also, when people have been reading into this, oh, well, it's definitely not him, because he would have said, would he? Come on. None of them ever do. But more importantly, you can't have. The reason why the position is not vacant, you can't have a showrunner of a show that hasn't been commissioned. Season 3 of Doctor Who hasn't been commissioned yet. I think Peter's been very clever in how he's worded this, to diffuse the situation, not to shift the spotlight as such. He knows by using the phrase party line, because a party line is a deliberate avoidance of truth to stick with an approved narrative, isn't it? So the position is not vacant because the series hasn't been commissioned yet. Your thoughts, Luke?
Yeah, no, it is it's the very political answer, isn't it? Yeah, Russell is still the showrunner, as much as everyone says they want him gone, he's leaving, blah, blah, blah. He's writing the next episode. All we have is the next episode.
Well, with the special, there is no showrunner for that Christmas special because it's a one-off, so it's just got an executive producer. Can't have a showrunner. Something's not a show.
Yeah, but it's still Russell's in the eyes. It's Russell's. It's Russell's chair right now, and right now that chair is filled. For how long, we don't know. Look, I don't expect anything until sometime tail end of this year, maybe start of next, before we get the official Doctor is back. Here's Pete McTighe. It is his in waiting, isn't it? It seems like that way, and he's positioning like he is. He's doing the, when the politicians are going out meeting everyone, they're doing the rounds, they're doing the political campaign, they're going everywhere, they're shaking the hands, they're meeting the fans, they're meeting the constituents. That's what he's doing now. Look, he's gone to Gallifrey One. He's doing the fan show. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's speaking very on the line. He's not annoying anyone, and he's not giving anything away. I think
you're quite right. He's becoming more visible and more audible.
Yeah.
But the things that he's saying, I mean, he's obviously, there's not many people who are as bombastic and as annoyingly reverential as Russell T Davies. But I think he's very wisely sort of positioning himself as one of us. And he knows that people are invested in the box sets like that, Luke.
It seems almost, I mean, obviously I'm not finger wagging at anybody who asks particular questions, but it's kind of a fool's errand to ask a flat out question like that and honestly think that you're going to get any answer. I think,
Gary, as you said, he will have known this question was coming because you told me last week they screened the questions.
Well, I think that they've ever since Jodie ever since Jodie's era, it used to be back in the good old days, I'll say, where when they had people up on the main stage asking questions, they just had 2 open mics at either end and in the middle. And if you want to ask a question, just line up and ask your question. Boom. With the Jodie era forward, you had to submit your questions ahead of time, and then they would ask which ones they wanted to ask to avoid any kind of controversy. But for Pete McTighe, I would think a better question that might actually solicit some kind of answer, maybe, is if you were shepherding the show, what kind of things would you like to see? Like something like that, to make it a what if question, to where if you were responsible for the direction of the show, what kind of things would you like to do in order to, ensure a success? Something like that, I think he might answer as opposed to, are you the next producer?
He did get one question, a creative question, Charlotte, which I found really interesting, not least of all because it's something that over the last 5 or 6 years, you and I have spoken about so many times with various panelists. So he said during that interview, the one thing that he would want to do is to go back to every single episode of Doctor Who, ending with a cliffhanger.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Well, here's the thing with Pete, and this is what's always endeared him with the fan base. He's clearly a classic soul when it comes to this show. Like when you see him purely just talking or doing like those trailers or the stuff for the Blu-ray, you can't fake that sort of love that he clearly has for classic. So I think if he was to be announced, I think a lot of his choices would probably be with a bit of a classic mindset. Because I think he's more in that camp than modern, honestly, the vibe I get off him. But I find it interesting from that quote you've just shown there. It's the first bit he said. It's not my decision. So as an opener, that's him clearly to me saying, I'm not saying no, it's just not my choice. So he's not like making sure he's not discounting himself from the position, which would be daft to do anyway, because like we said, he's so visible. But I think he didn't have to open like that in response.
Well, it's known, I think he said quite recently, not at Gallifrey One, but it is known that he has expressed interest in the job before when Stephen Moffat was doing it. So this is something he's had his eye on. This is something he wanted to do, almost certainly still wants to do, but he's being tight-lipped because why wouldn't you? We're not entitled to know this stuff. Obviously, people do talk, particularly when a show is in such disarray. Pete was present in that very eye-catching pink TARDIS T-shirt there at the closing ceremony for Gallifrey One there with everybody else. So that's nice to see everybody from all the eras and all the mediums all together there. Michael Trout and Peter Davison. Who's that picking his nose? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's what they do at the closing ceremonies. They basically get every guest who's still there, because some make their appearances and have to leave. They can't stay all 3 days, but they try to get everybody who's still actually there on stage for one big photo op like that.
Sober them up. Get them out there. You're on. Smile. Yeah, give it some. Yeah, so it's nice. I love the fact that all these pictures are out there as well. So if we've displayed your picture on this edition of the show, because there was lots and lots of them at the hashtag Galley1, thank you for being so generous, for sharing your experience with the rest of us who couldn't make it over to something like this, at least for now. But there it all was. And I just hope everybody had a brilliant time. Really, if you were a guest, let us know. Who did you meet? What did you see? What did you get signed? What did you go as? We want to know. We want to know. And I love this picture as well. So the hotel itself was lit up in TARDIS blue to mark the occasion as the convention was closing. I don't think they do that in Britain. That's a very American
cool
thing to do. Just a bit of Vegas, just a bit. They've announced next year's event. Now, obviously, Gallifrey One is about to change hands, isn't it, in the next couple of years? But they are, for the next 2 years, I think it is, Gary, they're staying at the same location, the Marriott in Los Angeles Airport, next year between the 5th and 7th of February 2027. The magnificent 37 of Gallifrey One this time. So it carries on. I don't think that the graphic is any clue as to who will be there. So I wouldn't expect to see Shooty and Tom there. And obviously Hartnell, he's being very late. That'd be a big shock if he turned up. So obviously, if you want to keep your eye on the social medias there for Gallifrey One, or probably at Gallifrey Base as well, that'll be the best place to go to find out who will be there as soon as possible and how you can book up for the next event, the next convention in this long line. So thank you again to everybody who shared your experience And yeah, maybe I'll get there one day before they close it, Gary, I suppose.
Yeah, 2028 is the last year under these under the auspices of the people who are running it now. After that, who knows? The final one, 2028, might be actually really interesting to go to, because that's their kind of goodbye. So
big blowout.
Because it used to be Sean Lyons for quite a while.
It is Sean. Yeah, no, I've known Sean since the 80s. We were in the Time Meddlers of Los Angeles, which is the fan group, which then headed the creation of Galley. He still runs it. Yeah.
Oh, does he? Oh, brilliant.
Sober them up, says Funky. I don't need reminding of getting Sylvester McCoy drunk at a Panopticon once. How long did it take, Funky, and how many rounds
Probably a long time.
did you go with Seven? I think it could have been a while. Boomer Doug is in the live chat. Hi, Doug. And Richard Brooks. Yes, there's still people arriving, people getting up, all that kind of thing. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, we'll keep watching, see how that develops with the next Gallifrey One convention, and we'll almost certainly, it's doubtful that I'll make it next year. I would like to go, though. I definitely would like to go. So maybe one day, if I try and get there before they turn it into a big, horrible corporate thing, Charlotte, I think that would be ideal.